nose running, miserable, the sick kid in the class, that kind of thing. When I was a teenager, those then turned into really severe allergies. And I would be pretty miserable. My eyes would be bloodshot. I'd be dripping snot all the time. I know, you're not to eat dinner, so that's like really nice. And I had to walk around with wads of tissues in my pocket. And we didn't have any medications in our household. Like, we didn't take any medications whatsoever because my mom didn't believe in that kind of stuff. So we didn't have any of their house. And she kept telling me that, I mean, she did earlier, obviously, but she changed her thoughts. And so when at that time she kept telling me, your body's going to heal itself. Your body's going to heal itself. It's going to get over this. And I kept thinking, when? Because it just never happened. I'd be miserable. And eventually this neighbor told my mom, take this guy to go to a chiropractor and get a spine check. I don't know what they do. I've never been to one, but they're the largest drugless healing arm. And maybe they'll help him because he's pretty miserable and such. So long story short, she took me to a chiropractor, took an x-ray of my spine. I had this big curvature in my spine that was quite severe, which I had no idea. Mind you, I had nothing going on with my back to make me think that there was something going on. I was 13. I had no back pain or whatsoever. So anyway, within about a month, the allergies completely went away, which was very exciting to my mom, as well as to me. Within a few months after that, though, because the doctor told me, very important thing to realize in terms of your overall health, symptoms are generally the last thing to show up. When a person has a health problem, symptoms are the last thing to show up. People's bodies are already malfunctioning for years. People get cancer and say they got cancer out of the blue. It just fell out of the sky. That's not true. People's bodies are cancering. It takes 16 years generally for cancer to get to a detectable level. 16 years, okay? So people's bodies are already cancering for years, all right? So anyway, get to that. The allergies went away. The doctor told me that symptoms were the last thing to show up and the first thing to go away. We have to get your body to work right. So I kept going, and within a few months, if you're the sick kid in the class growing up in New York City, I grew up in the Bronx, basically, you were on the bench for sports. I mean, that was it. That's the only position I played. But one day, after I was in chiropractic care for a certain amount of time, I got up to bat, and I hit this home run over the fence that the bigger kids hit the ball over. And it was one of those dizzy moments where time kind of slowed down. I was like, oh, what's going on? The ball went really far. And after that, all of a sudden I was on the all-star team and all MVP and all this stuff. My whole body's function had completely changed. I remember going home to my mom saying, does this chiropractic stuff somehow make me play sports better? And she said, absolutely, because every person's body works better with a good nerve supply. Really simple. Does that make sense? Your body works better with a good nerve supply. She ended up going to a chiropractic school after that because my health had changed so much that she decided that that was what she had to do as her calling in life. So what kind of things do you think would affect the alignment of a person's spine? What kind of things, just kind of shout out what kind of things you might think. We have a lot of practice members here, you guys should know.
Birth.
Birth is a huge one. Posture. Slouching. Accidents, yeah. What other kinds of things? Growing up. Okay. Stress. Okay. Anybody ever have stress and feel it in their body at the end of the day? And go home and oh, okay. Sports injuries, car accidents, airplanes, okay. Falling on your head, this kind of thing. The birth process, that would be pretty bad. So understand, all of these things are happening every day. People don't necessarily realize that they're impacting their spine and their function. But then their body's like this, and they're wondering why they're having cardiovascular problems and the nerve supply to that area is diminished like that. I've seen it so frequently. We had a practice member that came in for a number of typical things that you think somebody might go to a chiropractor for. And then 6 months later, he said, you know what, my insulin dependence has dropped down in half. And then he was completely off insulin several months later. Not because it's a magical adjustment for diabetes, but because people's bodies just work better with a good nerve supply. And understand,